Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd first like you to think of a very simple principle that, ladies and gentlemen, has been forgotten quite a bit throughout today. We act because we have a motive. We have a motive based off of facts. Ladies and gentlemen, a situation in the real world today is that we have acted against Iran and sanctioned them because of the fact that they have nuclear weapons. Our motive in this situation is because we have fear. We are scared, ladies and gentlemen, because they have these nuclear weapons. There's a reason that there is an international law that only 5 countries in the entire world are legally allowed to possess nuclear weapons. A fact and a law which our most worthy opponents would seem to have you overlook in favor of their mutually assured destruction policy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that that doesn't always work, and we cannot be assured, we cannot be secure in our knowledge that it's going to work 100% of the time in the future. I will be going over and clashing with every single one of the points brought forward by my most worthy opponents in roughly a simple statement. Their arguments are not enough. The self-interest of the government is not enough to ensure our safety. Their facts that they've provided that we should not be afraid are not enough. And the mutually assured destruction, the deterrence, is not enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to be prepared and to anticipate a potential attack. That is what the resolution states, and our most worthy opponents have given us as the definition. We should be scared. We should anticipate a potential attack. We don't necessarily need to say it will happen, but we should prepare for the worst just in case. It's most logical if they have these nuclear weapons and because they could be a potential threat. Going directly into clashing with their pillars, the first pillar was that of self-interest, that the government is interested in protecting themselves, in taking care of their regime, as they kept referring to. However, ladies and gentlemen, the government does not control terrorist organizations, or 100% of the people, ladies and gentlemen. As my partner brought up time and time again, terrorists exist throughout the Middle East. It's true, they exist throughout the rest of the world. But, ladies and gentlemen, in the Middle East, where you have an unstable government, you have a fragile economy, you have the third world, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot ensure that these terrorist groups will not get possession of these nuclear weapons. Like, for example, say, Russia, the United States, where you have very strong police enforcement. You have a first world economy. You are in completely different situations. My most worthy opponents, no thank you, cannot guarantee that the government of Iran can protect their nuclear weapons 100% of the time. And this policy that they keep presenting, saying that we'll go in and help and protect them, is not part of the resolution, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot ensure that Iran, as it is, can protect those nukes from the terrorists. And that is why we should be afraid. Their self-interest is not enough to guarantee our safety. The other thing that my partner also brought up was that their leader openly stated his hatred for his enemies. True, in their situation of Mao, where they brought up how he stated that he would like a nuclear Armageddon, nothing happened. But I guarantee you, if you hear a leader say that, you're going to be scared, ladies and gentlemen. That we're not talking about if they did act. The past is the past. We learn from it, true. But it's still wise to be scared. It's still wise to keep that fear in the back of our minds, is it not? It's a potential threat, a potential openly stated international threat. We can't ignore something like that, ladies and gentlemen. It would be foolish of us to do so. Moving on to their second argument, that we should not fear them because of military retaliation. Well, for example, terrorists. You all know 9/11. The US was a superpower then. They had the nuclear weapons, they had the military force, they had the Navy. They did go into Iraq and obliterate these terrorist forces. The terrorists knew that they could have done that. They still acted anyway. They killed so many people. They bomb themselves continually and still attack our troops in the Middle East, even knowing our power. How can they say that we know and can trust them that they won't attack us when they do already? They have no concern for themselves, these terrorists, these organizations. They get a hold of military weapons. Who's to say they can't get a hold of nukes? Would you not agree?
Well, what we don't see from your record, from your side, is that if we as the Western countries stop Iran from pursuing nuclear weapons, they're going to do it anyway, except through backdoor deals, through in secrecy, which is even less transparent, and even more dangerous than what we would propose on such opposition.
Yes, but what my most worthy opponents have failed to acknowledge is that in both situations, we still fear Iran. That is the resolution, ladies and gentlemen. We still fear them, whether they're transparent, whether we're helping them, whether we do nothing whatsoever. We're still scared of Iran with nuclear weapons. Going into my next point is that's even worse. The fact that we can't trust them, ladies and gentlemen. How can we trust that they'll rely on our past, that they'll go with what the US and Russia did with this very scary standoff with all these weapons? How can we trust that they're going to do the same thing when we can't even trust them with nuclear energy that they say they're only using for power? No, thank you. How can we trust them in any sense whatsoever if they're still doing this, ladies and gentlemen? They have no transparency in the country with the international community whatsoever. We cannot trust them with nuclear weapons. This is why we should be scared. This is why we should anticipate a potential act and take necessary actions, ladies and gentlemen. Moving into my third theme, which I've gone over quite a bit, is that deterrence is not enough. Mutually assured destruction, yes, in several situations has worked. But I'm pretty sure, ladies and gentlemen, in the Cold War, in the Cuban Missile Crisis, I quote, their second speaker even said the US was scared of Cuba. Because Cuba was sitting there with all of these nuclear weapons, ladies and gentlemen. We were very scared of them. Would you not agree?
Well, I'll ask that a question. Why do you think the United States isn't afraid of Russia, for example, coming out and giving them some type of nuclear attack? It's probably because they know that they could probably get retaliated against, right?
Yes, that's true. But the difference is the US and Russia, as I already stated, are first world countries, ladies and gentlemen. They have strong economic ties, as my partner brought up. They have a situation where they don't want to blow up each other. They have good reason for it, and trustable reason. Ladies and gentlemen, Iran, can we trust them? Can we be sure that terrorists won't get those nukes and retaliate and attack us regardless of their own safety? Can we truly believe that it's a guarantee that this situation won't happen and we have no reason to be scared of them? I think not. Fear is an emotion we get when we are scared for our safety. Regardless of whether we act on it, regardless of whether we don't, it exists. Through my three themes and my clashing of many of the points that they brought up to us, it's proven that we should still be scared of a nuclear Iran. We should anticipate a potential attack, whether it's from the government, whether it's from the terrorists, whether it's of the nuclear weapons themselves. Nuclear weapons can cause so much damage, as we've seen with Nagasaki and Hiroshima. As my partner brought up, just because we're currently sitting at a standstill and we're currently not bombing each other to death, doesn't mean we're not scared. I know I am. Thinking of those nuclear weapons are very dangerous. In the hands of terrorists, in the hands of an unstable government, we cannot trust that just a simple deterrence will be enough. We cannot believe or trust the country that them having nuclear weapons, they won't potentially attack us. Being scared in this case is being smart. We need to choose what is best to protect our security. And in this case, we must fear Iran and we must fear nuclear weapons. Thank you.